They first came to national prominence as members of the Fifth Dimension, with such chart-topping hits as Up, Up, and Away, Last Night I Didn't Get to Sleep at All, and Aquarius, Let the Sunshine In. After leaving the group, they continued to prosper, topping the charts one more time with You Don't Have to Be a Star, Baby, to Be in My Show. They also landed their own television variety show, and for one of them, she became the host of the hit TV series Solid Gold. Hello, I'm Ernie Manouse. Coming up on Interviews, our conversation with Grammy-winning artists Marilyn McCoo and Billy Davis Jr. First of all, congratulations on 40 years of marriage.
Can you believe it?
Yes.
How do you do it in Hollywood, in show business, 40 years?
Well, you know, to tell you the truth, we don't really know how we did it, but our lives is together all day, every day for the last 40 years. So we busy being who we are, and we forget about the time. So that's how it happened.
It's amazing to me.
Yeah.
I always, when I think about 40 years, I always thought I was going to be one of those tragic stories, married 4 times and, heartbreak everywhere, because I love torch songs,
Mm-hmm.
And when Billy and I got to 40 years, I thought, wow, this is just totally different. But it's great. It's great. I wouldn't change anything.
Now, they often say opposites attract, and you come from different backgrounds.
Yeah.
But over the 40 years, have you remained opposites, or did you become the same?
I think even though we were opposite, we were still more alike. Mm-hmm. We had a lot in common, and that's what started our friendship. Because we when we would talk together, we found out that we were really locked into each other's ways and thoughts and the things we liked and our dislikes.
Yeah.
And it really started a friendship that's continued throughout the whole 40 years.
Somewhere I read you have to be friends to make a marriage work.
I think it's good.
I think that's the
Yeah.
number one
how
recommendation.
How can you stay together? How can you be around each other every day if you don't like each other?
That's right.
Yeah.
And that's what we tell a lot of people when they say, well, what's the secret to a successful marriage? And I always say, well, you have to like one another. Mm-hmm. You have to enjoy each other's company. Our philosophies are similar about life, about how you treat people. We both have the same passion for music.
Yeah.
There had to be the days, though, where you didn't quite like each other as much as you might like each other right now.
Oh, yeah.
There's
So
been
how
a
do you
lot of
weather
days
those?
like that.
A lot of days like that?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Right. Well, come on, baby. Yeah.
So how do you weather those then?
We just deal with it. We know that's life. Life is not perfect for anyone. So, you're going to have your ups and your downs, and you just have to deal with it. That doesn't mean I'm going to run off,
Well, there were times that I thought we might not make it. Mm-hmm. And there were times when he got on my last nerve. And I would think about it, and I think, I just don't know. I don't know if this is going to really, how much longer this is going to last. But then I'd start thinking about it, and I think, now, if I leave him, who am I going to end up with? And is this person... And then I'd start looking at Billy's good side as well as the parts that were getting on my nerves. And then I started realizing that could happen anywhere. And Billy had so many good qualities, some kindness and thoughtfulness and a family man. And I thought, you give up some elements to get some elements, and those new elements that you end up with may not be very great.
Right.
And so then I'd start kind of saying, well, let's see where this goes. And it would work itself out.
Now, see, I would, and it's probably very stereotypic to say, but I would say being a man in the music industry, there were probably a lot of younger women who would kind of be familiar with you, throw themselves at you. Yeah. How do you resist the temptation of, after 20 years, 25 years, 30 years of marriage, hey,
Yeah,
I mean,
that
how
has
do you
happened.
balance?
That has happened. But when you got your wife with you,
It's harder.
they might look, but that's about as far as it's going to go. I'm quite sure it happened for Marilyn.
We had an incident one time. We were working at a Fairmont hotel, and this lovely young woman was sitting in the front row, and she was gorgeous. And she kind of she kind of shook me up a little bit because she was really hot.
Yeah.
And she was checking Billy out every move. And I started getting really insecure, you know. And then I thought, wait a minute, she's sitting out there looking at me. Let her know what she's up against. And I started changing my moves. Billy said he started watching me saying, what is she doing?
Yeah, I was like, what's going on over there? You know, she was doing all this crazy stuff, you know.
Okay, take me way back to the beginning. And if I have it right, you were a nightclub owner initially.
Yes, I did at one time, yeah. Yeah, back in St. Louis,
yeah.
St. Louis, Missouri. This was before I came. Actually, I got drafted into the service out of my nightclub. I ended up having to close it up.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
And then when does the Fifth Dimension come calling?
Well, actually, after I came back from the service, I opened up another club, and then I had to close that one up. Then that's when I came to California, and we started the Fifth Dimension.
Because your cousin was in the Fifth Dimension, or was there in the group that eventually became.
Well, Lamont McLemore, he was
who isn't really his cousin.
Not really, but you know.
Oh, he's not. Talk about internet rumors.
Yeah.
As we talked earlier before we started this.
But Lamont and Ronald and myself are all from St. Louis. We knew each other when we were kids, but we never dreamed we would be in a singing group because I didn't even know that these two guys could sing. And so we all migrated to California at certain times, and I was the last one to come out, looking for a solo career to get with Motown.
Now, you were already singing with them.
I was singing with Lamont, and Ronald had been in the group for a minute there. Mm-hmm. I was still in college, and we just had a lot of fun singing, you know, a lot of jazz songs. Mm-hmm. And then that group ended up going out on tour with Ray Charles. Mm-hmm. Ray Charles ended up managing the group for a bit there. And then the group broke up after a couple of years.
What was Ray Charles like?
You know, I was always so in awe of him. I kind of stayed away from him. But he was very encouraging to us in our music. He loved the things that we were doing, and he wanted to manage us.
Yeah.
So he took us out on the road with him. But I really didn't spend a lot of time talking to him. He never checked out my wrist. Remember the movie?
Right, yes.
Yeah, but I was always kind of shy around him, and so I really didn't talk to him that much.
Yeah.
Well, Ray was a true genius, though.
Oh,
he was really a true. He could sit at a piano and conduct his whole orchestra and know when a guy in the horn section was the note was missing or something. He would stop the band. Hold it. First alto, man, you're playing the wrong note. Check that out. You know,
he tell him you're playing an A. It should be an A flat.
Yeah.
He would know exactly what the problem was.
Wow.
He was
Genius,
amazing.
yeah.
I used to love sitting in the audience and watching him night after night.
Yeah.
He was amazing.
Now, at one point, we finally have the five right folks together to make Fifth Dimension what it became. When that came together, did you know it was something special? Did you know you had something?
No,
not really.
Not really.
Yeah.
No, you know, our manager, Mark Gordon, started, you know, shopping us around and trying to get us a record deal.
And he was with Motown.
He was with
and
Motown,
rejected signing you guys, but became your agent.
Became
our
manager. Right.
Yeah, right.
And actually, he didn't reject signing us. We had some music that was sent back to Detroit, and Barry turned us down.
He didn't turn us down. Barry wanted us to come out with a #1 record.
Right.
So he said the record that we sent back could be a top 5, but when we came out, we'd take that, you know.
Yeah, I know.
He said it'd be a top 5. He said, but what we want is a #1 record. We want to hit the market right. Yeah. Go back in the studio and record some more tunes. And at that particular time, Mark was having some problems there, and he was leaving, and he said, hey, why don't you guys come with me, and I think I can do more for you away from here than I can here, you know. So
what was the moment that you realized you had hit then?
Well, we won. We recorded Up and Away, and I mean we had Go Where You Want to Go, which was our first hit, and it was a top 20 record. But people still didn't know who the Fifth Dimension was. But then we recorded Up and Away, and then we were nominated for 6 Grammy Awards. Yeah. And everybody was excited, and we didn't even know what a Grammy was. Because they weren't on TV yet.
Yeah, no.
So we went to the Grammy Awards, and we had these special outfits made, and we won all these Grammys, and everybody was excited, and we thought, this must be pretty cool.
Yeah.
You know, we got some awards.
Is it fun to have success like that in a group of people, or does it lead to inner tensions? Meaning, one person feels maybe they were more responsible for the success than another, and can it lead to tension success?
Yeah, I'm quite sure it can, but we were glad when because we all knew each other, you know, and it was really nice to be able to be with somebody that you grew up with, and all of a sudden you hit it big, because when we go home, I mean, the families would come together, and all the kinfolks, and I mean, it was a real reunion, you know.
Yeah.
But the tension can get to be something else in a group, you know.
Well, the tension happened with us, you know, because they always said we were going to be a group sound.
Right.
And then all of a sudden they released Wedding Bell Blues, Marry Me Bill.
Right.
And all of a sudden they were focusing on a solo voice, which fortunately for me was my voice. But that started tension. I mean, the first one was okay, but then they came out with One Less Bell. And Billy was unhappy because Billy had a solo with the group called The Worst That Could Happen.
Yeah.
And we didn't release it as a single. And then the Brooklyn Bridge turned around, found it on the album, went in and recorded it, and had a #1 record. So Billy felt like, well, we were supposed to keep this group sound. I lost a #1 record opportunity. And now all of a sudden you're doing Wedding Bell Blues and One Less Bell. I'm blanking on my own here.
Right.
One Less Bell. And so that was something that took a little adjusting to, and we had to take a look at it and realize that these things happen.
Yeah, but I mean, that's not the real tension thing that really got in the middle of what we were doing. One of the major things that happened was we couldn't see eye to eye on direction, on where we wanted to go.
Yeah.
Marilyn and me, we're two type of people who like to woodshed, you know, go back and really start learning some more things and getting new things and stuff like that. And others want to keep going the way we're going. Well, we're making money.
Right,
yeah,
exactly.
we're making money, so let's go do this. And we say, hey, let's try the overseas market, which we didn't never capture. And no, our manager would say, well, you can't make as much money over there as you can. And that's what really was our
Before we leave the Fifth Dimension, though, there comes the point. You two now, you're both in the band. You're friends.
Yeah.
What was the idea? Let's get married. What led to that, from friendship to, hey, wait a minute?
Well, you know, we were very close as friends. We spent a lot of time together talking about life and philosophies and all. And who knows? How does it change? One day I was looking at Billy in those blue and white plaid pants, and he was looking pretty good. And I'm looking at him and thinking, how am I looking at him like this? This is my buddy. But it started changing.
And you guys got married when you had a #1 hit out there.
Wedding Bell Blues.
Wedding Bell Blues.
Marry Me Bill.
Right.
We got married the same year that was a #1 record.
So that was probably a pretty good year for you.
It was a very good year.
It was a very good year.
When you leave the Fifth Dimension now, I'm wondering the feeling of suddenly being just the two of you. It used to be a group. Now it's just, is there a separation anxiety? What goes on in your minds? I mean, I know from what you say, you want to try something new, so there's that hunger, but there's got to be, you're facing the world different now.
Yeah. You know, one of the funny things that happened when we left the group, yes, we did feel funny about the split.
Yeah.
But we decided now that we left the group, we're going to do our own thing, you know.
We're going to sing solos.
We're going to sing solos and no, I'm talking about now when we got back together, when we started doing our duet.
Oh, okay.
And we put our show together, we didn't want to do any Fifth Dimension stuff. We didn't want to do anything. We wanted to do only the things that we wanted to do. Wrong. That could never happen because when we would finish our shows, the people would say, we loved it, it was great, but
yes. But where are the hits?
Yeah, right.
Where's Aquarius? Up and away. Where are the songs that Fifth Dimension?
Well, we felt like if we were leaving the group to do something new, how could we turn around and sing all the hits? If we were going to sing the hits, we should have stayed with the group.
Yeah, that's right.
But then we had people who really cared about us and said, let me sit you down and teach you the way things are.
Right.
When people come to see you, they want to hear these hits. If you don't give it to them, they're not coming back.
Yeah.
And so we had to learn something new about the business. We're learning all the time.
40 years later, we still doing Up, Up and Away, Wedding Bell Blues.
Aquarius. That's right.
You can't get away from it. Yeah.
Okay, so now you've ventured out, start this new chapter in your career, and of course everyone's going to wonder, are they going to make it, not going to make it? And then you hit with a huge song. And I know there's things along the path, but when you don't have to be a star.
Yeah.
I mean, what does that do to you? Is it validating that you made the right choice?
Yes, that it
Absolutely.
did. But we believe that the Lord had His hands on us right then. You know, say, wow, to come out, that all of a sudden you break out with a new sound and have a #1 record. That's the Lord's got to be working with.
And
you.
another Grammy Award.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And what I remember most, a summer replacement show.
How do you remember that show? It wasn't on very long.
I used to watch it. Yes, I love that.
It was on that long.
Yeah. What did you think of doing that, though? I mean, it was the era of the variety show.
Right. Everybody was trying to come up with a new Sonny and Cher or a new...
Right.
Billy and I thought we would like it, but we didn't. You know what we didn't like about it? What we didn't like was that every week you had to learn new songs.
Yeah.
Now, when we would go into the studio to record a new album, or CDs now, you'd spend time on that music.
That's right.
And when you'd go in to record it, you'd spend, you would know that song from 2 weeks to a month of working on it, rehearsing. Right. But on television, you had to learn those songs in a week, and there may be 4 or 5 songs. And so we didn't like that, singing songs for millions of people that we had just learned.
Yeah, and they were
choreography and performance and how you were going to deliver it.
Across like they sound just like you just learned them too. You know, so it sounded to us. You know, say, oh no, we can't do this. You know.
Yeah. So then there comes a point where you guys, career-wise, are going to go separate directions a little bit. Is that a conscious decision, or is it just the way the business worked?
I think it was just the way the business worked at that
actually,
particular time.
It was a conscious decision.
Yeah, I know it, but at that particular time, we wasn't popping. You know,
well, that's true.
Like,
it was kind of a slow period.
Yeah, it was a slow period, and Solid Gold came. Solid Gold came along. Marilyn said to me, she said, "Baby," she said, "Should I do it?" I said, "Well, yeah." She said, "Well, what's going to happen to our recording career?" I said, "What recording career? We don't have one. Get over there and do the show."
Is it hard to go from having a huge mega hit and then it slowly starts to change?
Yes.
And now, how do you keep that in perspective, I guess is the best way to put it?
Well, as time had gone along, and we had watched what had happened to other acts, and I remember I personally used to say, well, we're not going to do that. We're going to stay hot forever, you know. But you realize that there are arcs in every career.
That's right.
And one day, your career, or our career, which was going so well up, is going to come down.
That's right.
And when you start dealing with that, it is hard, and it hurts. And when you go out and you're at a big, important event, and they're glad to see you, but they're dashing off to see the newest, hottest stars. It's weird. But you have to accept it because it's a part of life.
Yeah. That's why we come late or either early. You know? So we get there before they get there.
But it must be.
But you also know that it can come around again.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
So you're constantly looking for new ideas, new directions, new challenges.
Yeah.
But your names remain so recognizable. So does that say you did something right in the career?
Well, it's a real blessing. We're thankful.
I think we've been up and down a few times, so we kind of like to have staying power. You know, our names mean something out there. I mean, we still working even today, and it's a real blessing to be out there as long as we have been out there.
We've had some good people involved in our careers, helping us make decisions, and we feel like we've been blessed with good people surrounding us.
I've talked to a lot of performers who will say, even at the height of their popularity, when they had everything in the world they could have wanted, they still felt some sort of an emptiness. And I know you've talked about it, both of you have talked about it, and what you found to fill that. But what fascinates me about it is, how do you know that's what you need?
Well, then I get into a whole other thing, you know, because I believe that ultimately nothing's going to satisfy us until we have our spiritual lives in order. And that was what I was missing.
Right.
And once I realized that I needed to have faith in my life, and once I prayed and asked the Lord to come into my life, within about 2 or 3 weeks of that prayer, I discovered I wasn't feeling that emptiness anymore. So it wasn't like poof overnight, but it was like within about a 2 or 3 week period, all of a sudden, I wasn't feeling like something was missing anymore.
Okay.
And so that, to me, told me that what I had done was what I needed to do.
But you're in a couple now, and you're finding, are you right there at the same point?
Well, actually, I wasn't kind of like away from my spiritual walk. I just wasn't walking it. You know, I mean, I was busy being in show business and enjoying the nightlife and drinking, you know, doing all the things that one pictures the entertainer doing. And when Marilyn started to
read the Bible,
read the Bible, then I got convicted because it should have been me, the one that's showing her, hey, we need to look at a spiritual part for fulfillment, you know, and I wasn't doing that. So
you mentioned the drinking, and I think oftentimes people say, you know, what do you say to the person who's drinking? How do you get them on the right path? And I'm curious, from the position of someone who was enjoying the drink, what could have been told to you, and what finally got to you so you realized it was time to make a change?
Well, you're right. I was enjoying it. In fact, I used to wish that it would come out of my faucet.
Yeah.
You know, but
that's really enjoying it.
I was really into it. But what happened was one day, Marilyn, you know, nobody ever think that they are alcoholic. That they have an addiction problem. And one day, Marilyn came to me and said, "Baby, you know, I've been reading this paper here, and I've been reading all these questions here, and it looked like you're an alcoholic, you know, because this is what it says. It said if this happens, and it just messed me up. What do you mean I'm an alcoholic?
Now, were you angry, or did you think that there was some validity?
Yeah, well,
he got very angry.
I jumped on the defensive, you know, because I mean, you know, your spouse come up to you and tell you you're alcoholic, and I've been drinking all these years, you know, but I had to come to admit that I really was an alcoholic.
And I'm interested in that process. How do you get from the point of your wife saying to you, look, you should be aware of this, and as she said, even, you're angry, you lash out at them. What is the process that gets you to accept it? Because I'm sure there's people out there that watch this that say, I've got this problem in my family, and I need to get a hold of them, but I don't know what's going to connect.
Yeah. Well, one of the things, I tried to quit, and I never could quit. I would quit for so long, and then I'd fall off. I would get back, fall off the wagon, I'd right back into it, you know. Yeah. And then I almost lost my wife, you know. And I just knew then that it was time for me to really get serious about this thing. And one of the other things is that I found myself hiding little drinks around the house, trying to prove to her that I wasn't drinking. Yeah. I know she could smell it on my breath, but I was too messed up to think about that, you know. Yeah. So it was, those are the kind of things that one does when they have an addiction. So
then you realized it within yourself?
I realized, yes, that I said I better do something about this now, else I'm going to lose everything that I worked for, and the main thing, my wife.
Yeah, but you made it through that.
Yes.
Oh yeah, yeah.
He prayed. And
I prayed,
asked the Lord
for strength to get me out of it, and I haven't had a drink in 23 years.
Good for you! Congratulations. Yeah. Don't they give you a chip for that or something?
Yeah, I got a few chips at AA. But after about 6 months, maybe a year, I stopped going because I was so locked in and determined that I had it with alcohol, and I never looked back.
So never the thought that I've beat it, so if I want to have wine with dinner, I can...
No, that's the trap.
I know better than that. Trap. No, I don't want to fall into the trap.
Yeah.
I never want to go back to that.
Yeah.
Never.
Yeah. So then, career-wise, you folks are still out there working many dates a year. Ever get a chance where you just say, you know what, we're tired of it. You know, I can't sing, these songs anymore. Or do they still bring you the same excitement?
Well, we still enjoy performing. And we have talked about it. I've asked Billy a few times, do you still want to perform? I said, because I love it. But I don't want to feel like he's doing it because I want to do it. I want him to do it because he still loves it the way that I do. Yeah. And I think you do.
I do. Yeah,
he does.
We're hams. You know, I mean, most entertainers are hams. I mean, we've been like that since we were kids, and I don't think that ever leaves you. What happens is I think you just get to a point in your life where you can't function. You know, and God willing that we keep our health and our strength, and God has let us keep our voices so we can sing, you know, and we get out there and we do it, you know.
Looking for the new sound, still out there, hungry for that?
Well, you know, we just came up with our new CD called The Many Faces of Love, and everything that we do now is about, we want to hopefully make a difference in the lives of people, sharing what's happened in our lives, and everybody wants to know how we've made it to 40 years. So we wrote a book, of course, about our lives up and away, how we found love, faith, and lasting marriage in the entertainment world. And now we've come out with a CD called The Many Faces of Love, which where we selected some of our favorite love songs from the 60s, 70s, and into the 80s. And we picked songs that deal with first love, staying together, having difficulties in your relationships, because we want to take them on like a little journey of what relationships are really about. And that's what we're doing with The Many Faces of Love. And we're constantly looking for new things that share with our audiences about who we are and where we are in our lives.
Well, I have to thank you for the journey you've taken us on all these years. Keep doing it. Thank you so much. A pleasure to have you here.
Well,
thank you so much, Ernie.
Marilyn McCoo and Billy Davis, Jr.
To order a DVD of this or any episode of InnerVIEWS, please visit HoustonPBS.org.